Like if you struggle with acquiring clients in your AI agency, this video is going to be helpful for you. I just had a conversation with somebody who is also in the similar space than I am, which is just obviously, yeah, selling AI to businesses and just generating some value for businesses using AI, just building products and services around that. And as you see, it's literally right now, 2 in the morning, and I decided to record this video because I was like, I'm just gonna share my thought on this because like this entire video is based on a conversation I had yeah, literally a couple months ago. Don't ask me why I speak to people at like 2 in the morning, but nevertheless. Look, so I was speaking to this one guy, right? And he is obviously like into AI and he's just struggling with getting clients. And I'm not saying that I'm some expert at getting clients, but I mean, I have some ways to just consistently get some, attraction from the market and speak to the market and create an opportunity to sign an AI agency client. And I've signed a couple of my clients. So pretty much the conversation went like this. I was like speaking to him, and I said to him, okay, so because we were talking about his like way of acquiring clients, it was just yeah, just DMing people, and I was like, okay, could you please tell me what is like your ABR, and also what is your MSR, and also if you have like your SUR, and then like what is your also, I mean, he was talking more about outreach, so it's not relevant, but then he said, I said to him like, what is your SCR as well? And he looked at me a bit weird, and I was like, and so he said to me like, what are you talking about? We were talking about getting clients. And I'm like, well, okay, here may be the issue. So look, if those things, so ABR, MSR, SUR, and also SCR. If those things you have no idea what they are, then here may be one of the reasons you're struggling with getting clients if that's not familiar to you. So what those things are, essentially, my dear friend, they are called metrics. And you see, those metrics, I'm gonna also translate right now, so I'm gonna tell you. The first metric here is called ABR, which stands for appointment booking rate, which is what is the rate at which you're booking appointments for, like what is the percentage at which you're booking appointments from the outreaches you're sending. So obviously, if you were to, let's say, for the simplicity, if you were to send, let's say, 100 messages and you were to book 2 calls, then obviously your ABR would be 2%, right? So that's pretty much what ABR is. Then MSR is just media send rate. So this is very important to track if you're doing like cold outreach or like, for cold calling, pickup rate. But it's pretty much the percentage of people that like see your messages or like pick up your phone when you call. So same analogy here, if you just call or like message 100 people and you see that 35% of those people seen your messages, then you have the MSR of like 35%. SUR is just your shop rate. So out of all the appointments you book, how many of them actually turn up to their calls, because probably you're running some sort of sales calls. So let's say if you book like 10 calls and 3 of them show up, then you have obviously shop rate, which will be quite horrible, 30%, right? And SCR, obviously your search sales conversion rate, it's out of those people that show up. Like let's say you have 10 sales calls and you convert like 2, then obviously your SCR, which is sales conversion rate, would be at 20%. And now, if what I just said in the last 3 minutes sounds very alien to you and very unfamiliar to you, well, here may be the issue. Because look, all literally like acquiring clients is like understanding that you have like the market here. I'm gonna draw a couple of people. Like you have the market, right? You have the market, and pretty much here are you with your AI automation or whatever else you want to sell. And you just want to go to that market and like say, hey guys, here is my AI, I don't know, whatever the system may be, and it's going to be like X amount of money. And if you pay me that money, I'm going to give you that system. And as a result of that system, something good is going to happen. I don't know, whatever your automation is solving, like whatever the problem is for the market that you're solving, and you're going to be happy. Very simply put. So the thing is, all you really have to do is just reach out to those people consistently and use what we call metrics, which is just with numbers evaluating certain conversion stages of your like system of acquiring clients. So just track all of those metrics, reach out to the market consistently with some sort of a message, and track what is the performance. So what is the percentage rate performance of that messaging. So the reason you may be struggling with acquiring clients is because perhaps you're blind and you have no idea what's going on. Like if I just the same reason I asked that guy about his metrics and he couldn't answer, and I said to him, well, my dear, maybe here's your problem because you didn't even know it's not working. Like he said to me, yeah, I'm not getting clients, nothing is working. And I said, look, maybe you just don't know. Like, look, you don't know what's happening. So look, all pretty much we're doing is just as we were sending messages, literally just say input. Your initial message, let's just write here that we'll draw that as a message, is an input, and then that's going to go through like a process, right? And that's going to be like your entire how you're reaching out to the market, and then you're going to have outputs. So which is pretty much probably my dev audience here is familiar with this graph. And obviously, like input is like you're reaching out to the market, process is like, I mean, the input wouldn't be obviously like you're reaching out to the market. It would be the people, like the message, the potential people you have in that you're going to reach out to. The process would be the entire like way of like structuring that email and what you say in that email, how you send it, and then the output is like how many people actually respond. And very often people like run this process in their agencies. Like the guy I was speaking to, and he was like, no, I'm sad because like it's not working, I cannot get clients. And I said like, okay, well, how effective is this process? And he's like, well, this is why I asked him about the metrics, and so I did for you. And if you were confused, then here may be the reason why you're just struggling to get clients. Because the thing is, in order for you to know how how well is it working for you, you need to take this output and add arguably the most important thing, which is called feedback, right? And then based on that feedback, we need to improve our inputs. It is a very simple approach as to like how you can actually improve getting clients. Because look, let's say you do cold calling, right? Let's say you just call up businesses, maybe realtors, and you sell them AI voice agents, which would be ironic because a human is calling a business to sell them AI agents, but nevertheless, like, so let's say you're calling them and you're saying like X, Y, and Z words, right? Let's say you're saying X, Y, and Z like strings of words, and that's like a process, and like you measure, and you don't measure that, and you just say certain things of words. You try to repeat that process so it's quite predictable, like you do the same thing over and over again, and then you say to me, like, I don't get any clients, it's not working. And I say, what is not working? Where are the metrics? What do you do? How do we know what even is not working? Look, the point of this video is I want you to start tracking everything. Look, if you're cold calling a certain way to and reaching out to the market, and you don't like, and because look, you do certain input, like you have certain inputs, you do have a certain process, and you have an output. Even if you don't measure it, it's out there. And the most important thing is to collect feedback on this output of the system. So based on this feedback, we can understand and judge whether there's something maybe wrong with the process or something wrong with the inputs of the system. So look, in order for you to improve your systems, you need to track them. You need to. So here's what I need you to do. If you're doing like any outreach or whatever you're doing to acquire clients, just measure how many people you're reaching out to, how many people see your messages, how many people respond to those messages, and how many of those people actually convert into the appointments. You can go and like research with Claude or just find any basic video on how to track metrics. Literally just create a Google Sheet and just write down everything that you're doing and calculate percentages. So after you start to track the metrics, you will have some certain percentage conversion rates. Look, all you really have to do is track the system, the process you're using to get clients, and just aim for like 1 to 2% ABR. So which is how many appointments you get per the volume of outreach you do. And 1 to 2% would mean that if you were to do like 100 outreaches, where that's messages, emails, cold calls, you would get around like 1 to 2 appointments for that, right? And obviously you would just get 1 to 2 calls, very simply explained. And that means if you do that if you like do 2x on that, and you just do more volume, and you're going to do 200 outreaches a day, that means you will have like 2 to 4 calls a day. You times that by 20 days of the month, and you're starting to get more appointments, and then you actually have a pipeline which is full. So all you really have to do is just figure out what you can say to people, what you can say to people, and 1 to 2% ABR, and you're good. Like, just do the outreach. So it's not really that complicated. But the point of this video is just please start tracking everything as you're outreaching. And the problem is, if you collect feedback and you look at like what's working and what's not working, you may think to yourself, well then, okay, so let's say you track it and you have like a horrible 0.3 ABR because you started to track the metrics because you watched this video, and then you're like, okay, that is not good. We are really far away out of KPI. KPI, another thing. By the way, those metrics are, we track them to just know how far away from KPI we are. KPI is just key performance indicators, like a goal for like the KPI we want to reach was like 2%, let's say ABR, right? So that 2% ABR is the KPI, and like if you're a 0.3, you're going to be very far away from that KPI. So look, here's the thing when it comes to just, you know, tracking it and just yeah, getting the metrics. If you like track the data and you have, this is how many people are actually booking per all the outreaches I do, you have some data, and based on data you can draw conclusions. So what you can do is, if you don't know anything about marketing and you have no fucking clue what you're doing, you can just outsource your thinking to AI. So what you do is, I mean, look, that's the times we were living in. What you can do is you can collect these metrics and literally just explain to, like, collect the metrics. So let's say this is like the Google Sheet where you have all the metrics. Hopefully you're tracking them and you have like all the conversion rate, you know, how many people you've sent the messages to, how many viewed those messages, how many responded, and how many responded and actually booked a call with you to, so you can sell them on your AI. Collect this data, and literally what you do, you probably know what the icon means. Yes, you're right. What you do is you go to our Uncle Claude. And what you do is you go to Claude, you upload those metrics, and you say, hey, Claude, this is the metrics. This is how many people are responding. Clearly it's not working. I have to put so much volume through the system that to get even a couple of appointments to maybe get a chance to, like, an opportunity to sign an AI agency client. So it's not working. And look, then you upload the data, and very important, you upload what you're reaching out. So whether that's a script, whether that's your method, just explain what you are doing. So your data, right? So data in the forms of metrics, then like your method. So what you are actually doing, and then you explain your market. So what is your market? And then you're literally prompted, hey, based on the data that is not working, this, like, whatever we have here, it's not working. Please re-engineer the entire like stimuli and what we are presenting to those people, how we are approaching that, maybe the words I say, the different approach, where I get the leads from, whatever you do, and ask Claude for all the possible reasons why it's not working. Like, so just ask Claude what is not working, what maybe the reason that's not working, and for him to create a version that is most likely to be working for that market. And then what you're going to get is you're going to get a V2 version of yeah, this process that you have came up with here, and you're just going to start to measure that data again, and you're going to, like, you know, spend 2 to 3 weeks maybe measuring more data, and then you're going to have the data, and you will see how far away from like those booking rates you are. And if you're, let's say, like you have, I don't know, 1.5 ABR, which means like per 100 calls or 100 messages or 100 emails, you're going to get 1 or 2 calls sometimes, or like one. I mean, you're not going to get 1.5 calls. So let's say on average, like you get sometimes 1 calls, sometimes 2 calls, and it just varies. And if you get that, you're like, okay, like it's working, and then just do more. Like literally hire VAs and do more. Like just hire people from Philippines and pay them. Hey, this is the process which has been working for us. Here's money. Do more of it, and you just continue to get more people on the calls and explain to them what you do, and probably sooner or later someone will pay you. And I mean, you just do it. So yeah, that's it. And if you're still not working, then you come back to Claude and you explain even more in depth what's not working. You figure out what may be not working. You ask what are the possibilities by Claude. Like, I'm not affiliated or anything, but just spend that $20 a month and just literally use Claude to just figure out a lot of fun things in your business. Literally, like, upload the metrics, upload what you're targeting, what is the method, ask code for all the possible reasons as to why maybe this is not working and how to improve it. It's going to give you a new approach, new system, and just test it over and over again. And sooner or later, you will, be in check, like in high ABR, and you will, like, your outreach will actually lead to some sort of result, and it will be like your 1 to 2 to 3 hours of input in terms of like reaching out to the market, out with a couple of appointments maybe, and then you can just properly, build out your sales pipeline and properly just start to build your AI agency. So this is hopefully a helpful video to people that are struggling with just getting clients, in terms of like AI agencies and AI developers, which is, just the point of this video is like just track the data so you know what's not working. The reason I'm cleaning this whiteboard is because this is satisfying. So yeah, and I'm gonna put a smiley face for you at the end of this video. So just stay positive. Like, you can figure things out, you can fix things, and it's going to be all right. If you want more content about AI agencies, and if you're an AI developer and you want to, if you're just an AI agency or an AI developer and you want more valuable content like this, just subscribe. And look, like, just track your data so you see what's not working or what is working. Unless you have the data, like, you don't know what's going on. How do you think our entire world was built on? It was based on empirical data, drawing conclusions from that data, forming better hypotheses. That's literally science. Like, without data, you don't have anything. Like, without data, you don't have science, you don't know what's going on, you're literally blind. So track the data, understand what's going on, figure out new ways, try them, measure the data, see how they are working. If they are working, voila, amazing, do more. And just, then obviously you have a lot of other things to figure out, such as like how to sell to those people, how to deliver. But there are already videos on my YouTube channel on that, so hopefully they are going to help. And that's it for today's video. Yeah, that conversation inspired me to record this tutorial, even though right now, as I'm finishing it, it's 22 minutes past 2 a.m. So yeah, you see what I sacrificed for you. Hopefully that helps. Take care.